Welcome to the Peggy Smedley Show, the podcasting voice of IoT and digital transformation, with your host, Peggy Smedley.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Peggy Smedley Show. I'm pretty excited. I am coming to you live from Liveworx, and this is exciting. I have to tell you, if you have not been to Liveworx, you need to be here. I am so stoked. I listened to Jim Heppelman, the CEO and president of PTC, open up today on stage, and boy, he is so dynamic. It was exciting, and I'm waiting for my first guest to come here. He's running a little bit late, but that's okay. But I have to tell you, in the meantime, while I wait for Mr. IoT come here, Robert Schmid, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened here at Liveworx a little bit this morning. Today was the opening day. They've had a bunch of things going on here at Liveworx, and I'm in Extropolis. I mean, I am in this wonderful box that PTC's arranged for us, and it's exciting. I'm telling you, if you saw the momentum and the people running around, it's crowded here, and it's a lot of excitement. So I'm going to be coming to you live from the show floor. We're going to be broadcasting live today until 2 p.m. Central, and then I'm going to be back again at 3 p.m. Central. I guess here in Boston, I guess it's Eastern time, though. But since I do my show normally Central, I'm giving you kind of a little feedback of what time we're going to be doing it. But I want you to see, because we're live streaming, so if you see it, you're watching it, listening to it, you get a chance to see us. We're streaming to you on Connected WMAG, so if you're used to listening to it, you can actually watch us today, which is really fun to do. So I'm pretty excited about that. So every time we can live stream, I think it's kind of fun. But there's so much to see. So if you're in Boston, you should be coming over to the convention center over by the Westin there too. They've got the show here, and they call it Extropolis because they've got their partners here, PTC has. They've got sessions going on. So you have a chance to really see and feel all the things that have been going on. And I learned a lot. You know, we've been talking about the IoT, For me, I've been talking about it probably for the past 10 years or a while now. But what's been really exciting about talking about all these things is what's been happening. And the new thing that everyone's talking about is this digital transformation. And I think what's exciting is when you talk about digital transformation, you're talking about AR and augmented reality. And the interesting thing I learned about today is hearing Jim Heppelman talk about AR is IoT, the Internet of Things for people. And it's really interesting to hear that statement and coming out of Jim Heppelman, because if you know anything about Jim, his roots actually started in CAD and PLM, and he's like a techie at heart, but he's really talking about this new evolution of how people are going to think and react. And Jim's going to be on the show, and I'm going to have him delve into this more and really talk about what this means and how all of us are going to have to think differently about our workforces. And I think when we think about the shortages in manufacturing or construction or any verticals that we have that we don't have the worker of the future, what that's going to mean. Because if we're talking about digital transformation, we have to think about what does that mean? What kind of worker are we going to have to get? And I think it's exciting to think about when we say, well, IoT, the Internet of Things, is a specific kind of worker. I think it's interesting for all of us to think, who is going to shape that new employee that we're going to have? Are we saying that we have to have a data scientist? Well, according to Jim, I think we're going to have this new resurgence now of engineering, a new resurgence in bringing all of these kind of people together, whether it's AR, AI, machine learning, IoT. This digital transformation is going to bring all of these new types of people together. And I think it's pretty exciting to hear Jim talk about this. And that's why I'm excited when all of our guests are going to come on the show today to have them all talk. But if you walk around this show floor today, from the factory floor, when you talk about the digital thread, and they talk about this renaissance of design and digital thread and what that means. And I think that's what we're seeing, this whole idea of what the smart factory is going to mean. And all of these partners that are here and what they're saying, what's driving this new renaissance that I just mentioned, what that really means into all of us. So I think it's exciting because I think each one of us has this desire to work in this industry or any vertical market, whether it's retail, manufacturing, transportation, fleets, whatever it might be, and what we're going to be doing today, tomorrow, well into the future. And I think all of these things are really exciting to think about how we're going to be shaping this new design, this new products we might even kind of get involved in. And when you hear Jim talk about their wind chill product, or you hear them talk about Creo or any of these products that they traditionally had, into what these new products are going to be into the future or where they've been in the past, I think it's a changing kind of resurgence, so to speak. And I loved hearing him talk about today on stage and getting everybody in the audience really excited about where the future's headed for all of us thinking about this new strategy, the new technical design that we might have for the new products, the new innovation that any of you out there might be thinking about. What kind of future are we going to have? What does this all mean? So I think that part's really exciting. I think it kind of says that we are all kind of designing new products. And he talked also, they had Rockwell on stage this morning, and talked about the partnership and how that partnership is really exciting. What it means is it's a whole organization working together, and how it's really kind of fired up, and how that there's so much more going to come out of it. And I found that interesting because I think when you think about partnerships, so many of us try to think about, what does a partnership mean? Is it successful? Is it driving new trends? And I think for all of us, we're trying to figure out, are we creating something that's meaningful? What do customers get out of it? And I really found that that was intriguing, because I think as we think about digital transformation, we're always trying to find out, are they successful? How do they come together? How do they go to customers? What kind of new developments come out of it? And I think that was interesting to hear about. So right now, as we're waiting, I think Robert's coming on stage right now. Let's see him come on up here. Robert, I think you're here. Come on down, as they say. No, come on. We're streaming live, and you're saying you're... Come on, everybody. There we go. Whip that on out here. Come on up here. Robert, welcome. Come on, have a seat. Come join. All of our guests are watching you as we're streaming live right now.
They're watching or they're listening?
They're watching and listening. So they're
watching
all
and listening. Okay, I can't slouch then. Okay, let me stand up straight.
You got to talk right into this mic, nice and close for it.
Okay,
so
can I
talk
take
right
it out,
in.
or?
Yeah, take it out if you feel the need. Be famous. So there you go. Here, I'll take mine out then. How's that?
Okay, that sounds good.
So here, well, I might take it out, but maybe not. I'm going to hold mine. How's that? I'm going to hold mine. I can't get it out. So let me see. My introduction that I have for you is, you're known as Mr. IoT. So,
Well, at home I go by Robert, but yeah.
Yeah, tell me what Mr. IoT really means, because, what I have for you is that you like to be known as Mr. IoT because you know all things about wearables, all things that are in social, mobile, and everything that you're doing these days at Deloitte Digital.
So there's a funny story how I came up with this Mr. IoT thing, but first of all, I don't think I know all things, but I try to know some things and get people interested and excited about it. This all started when IoT was sort of like a bit of a hype thing, and I always said all things will be connected. And so I really wanted to own IoT. I really wanted to be sort of like the evangelist for it. And so I said, well, Mr. IoT. And then it stuck. And then I put it on my signature. But it really started because there was a Mr. Wind in Europe. And there's this really cool video about windmills, like power generating windmills. And we made a video and we copied sort of like the concept of Mr. Wind. And then we created Mr. IoT out of that. And so this is how it became this Mr. IoT thing. And now the moniker sticks with me.
Sticks with you, and people love it, right? And they know who you are because
do you
of
like it?
I love it. I love it.
Okay.
If it works, that's all that matters. So let's talk about the digital age right now. The digital age is really important. When we think about what's happening in the digital age, how do you feel about what's happening when you think about all the changes, all the companies that are trying to break into this digital age? Do you think they're successful?
Well, first of all, I'm super excited. I think digital is really helping all of us to, in so many ways. In some ways, we don't even remember anymore, right? Directions on our phone. That's the digital age. I mean, when we pull out maps, that's like
Do
ancient
people even
now.
know what a map is? At
You
least
know,
a printed map.
People who know me know that I sailed a lot. And when I sailed with my family halfway around the world, we actually owned maps. We had like a stack about this thick, like a half an inch thick of maps. And we put them underneath our bed. 10,000 miles, they never came out. All of it was digital. And I think this is what we see throughout our lives, but we also see it at work now. And it's almost like that the consumer side of digital has been driving the business side of digital. And it's sort of like we've come to the place now where all improvements we can make on process, without digital we can't live with it anymore. And that's what digital means. It's storing stuff, it's analyzing stuff, and it's acting on what we get out of digital, and it's exciting.
I think there's a statement that you had, and you tell people think big, start small, and scale fast, this methodology. I love that because when I talk to companies, they look at the IoT and they just want to take it all in, and they fail. They can't do everything all at once because it's too big and they're not going to succeed. Do you believe that? Well, you do, because your methodology says that.
Yeah, so this think big, start small, scale fast all came out of lots of people think about it, but you can't actually really answer many of the questions when you just think about it. You really need to do some of those things, and so this is where the start small is so important. You can only think about things so much, but then you actually have to test it, you have to try it out. And when I say test, I don't actually mean technically test it, I mean even test how people respond to it. Does it actually give me the improvements I want? How do the machine's actual data look like when I really put a sensor on there? So it's all about starting small with a few things that I think make an impact. And I say a few because it's this portfolio approach. Take 3 to 5 things and then learn from them. People always say fail fast. I like to use learn fast. It kind of makes me feel better when I learn rather than fail.
Absolutely.
But, learn on those and then take the things in scale. And really take the things that make an impact and bring them to scale, make them big, and get the value out of it. There is one aspect that's not really apparent out of this whole think big, start small, scale fast, which is people find gems, nuggets by doing things. Often people see that, they think that's my big win, and they do that and they find, yeah, I get that. And then I just heard it yesterday, someone talked about location-based services and how it helped a rental company knowing where everything is and get people in and out of the rental office super fast. And that was the ROI, and they made it. But they actually realized along the way that suddenly, because they had so much time, they helped people along the process and increased their revenue that they didn't even know about. And if they wouldn't have started small, they would have never known about that.
So are manufacturers, when you look at them today, are they at a crossroads? Because we've seen some manufacturers are at just the very beginning of their journey. Other ones are at their second generation in the journey of implementing connectivity, doing things. So is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it the right thing at this point?
So I may have hinted about this before, but I believe that manufacturers have come to this edge of we've done everything we can. We've done Sigma, we've done Lean, we've done process improvement. We're kind of like we've done as much as we can, and we still need 10% more capacity, or we got to invest tens of millions of dollars into new machinery. And so they come then to us and say, well, let's go digital. And that's sort of the moniker they use. And I really think that particularly with factories and manufacturers, they are getting the immediate benefit out of that. They have, as you said, connected machines today, and sometimes the data doesn't even get stored. So there is a lot of hidden stuff that we can bring to the surface very quickly and generate value really sometimes in weeks, not months.
There's a lot of hurdles, though, in trying to get things done quickly, just that you just described. Are they successful, or are they overcoming these hurdles? What would your best advice be to them then?
Hire Deloitte.
Oh, well, there you go. Hire Deloitte. All right. Forget about all those other consulting companies.
I'm sorry.
Hire
I had to
Deloitte.
say that. I mean, you
Plug,
set me up for
plug.
that.
Yeah, I
you
did
set
set
me
you
up for
up.
that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think on a serious note, I do think it's about starting and really being willing to let certain things go and do other things. I do believe it's about there is a people aspect. So, we talk about this IT and OT convergence, information technology and operational technology. I mean, anybody on a shop floor you talk to, they're going to tell you they've been connecting machines for 25 years. But they haven't had some of the information technology abilities such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, the cloud, for example. On the other side, IT has been doing information technology for a long time, but they haven't really worked on machines. So bringing those together, that's a big aspect of what I do on a day-to-day basis. I find myself half of the time I'm a counselor to my teams where I have an IT and an OT person kind of like telling me the same thing from a different angle, and I'm just sitting there and bringing them together. So it's about people. I think the technology is there, but it's technology from multiple people, and so having this real team approach, be a team sport, is a big aspect of any successful project.
So do you have the secret sauce that if they come to Deloitte that versus somewhere else that you're going to give them that's going to help them be successful? Because some of these companies are finding success with their teams. Other ones are saying, we failed. We get so far, but we don't have the people that can help us that make it successful, because you can't just implement technology. It is the people that make it successful.
Yeah, I mean, I love the two analogies. I never know which one to use. It's a family business or it's a team sport, and both of their sort of like have their different angles to that, right? But it is about bringing a team together, and it is about bringing together your own people. It's about bringing the people that actually do work on the shop floor and in the manufacturing business. It's about the plant manager. It's about a consultancy. It's about a software company. It's about a hardware company. There's so much edge processing going on. One of the things I do think about, and we try to do a lot, is instead of talking about proof of concepts, we talk about proof of value. And it shifts your focus towards where's the value rather than proving some technology or some little gimmicky thing. And it's really helping people to get out of the proof of concept purgatory and really sit there and say, yep, the value is there. And it becomes really, really difficult for companies when they see, oh my God, I don't have to spend $10 million. Oh my God, I'm going to be able to increase my revenue, to actually walk away from the digital transformation. Much different than when I go and tell them, oh, I got a new platform to use. You can connect thousands of little assets. How exciting is that? So no, I'd much rather go and talk about the value and bring together strategy, process, and technology into one place.
Is it right now, we've always really been talking about go to the edge. Now, it was go to the cloud, then it went go to the edge. Where are we now? Are we both? Are we one over the other? What's the answer for a lot of these companies?
So I believe that actually IoT will drive a lot of cloud adoption. People who haven't been in the cloud will have to go to the cloud because you need the capacity to go up and down very quickly, which is almost impossible to do on your own. Or if you do it, it's very expensive, and very, very few companies can actually justify that. So there's a strong push to do much of what we do around analytics, around those things in the cloud, particularly when it's across factories. So that's one I can see an even stronger push into the cloud. Cloud has been popular now. Mm-hmm. People talk about it, but it's sort of like, I need it now. I can't really live without it. So that's one. Two, we will see more and more edge. I forgot there was a study that and it changes all the time, I think in the next couple of years, we're going to see that about 40% of processing will happen on the edge.
What about all these measurable results? Will we get true measurable results by taking these next big leaps from either to the cloud or to the edge, either or? When you say that, will we be able to measure
Well,
that?
we do get them. I mean, we do get the value. It's not because we moved to the cloud or we moved to the edge. It's because we changed certain processes and supported that with technology. It's not the move to the cloud that got us there. It's because we really focused on factory asset intelligence, or we really focused on predictive maintenance. It's the use cases that drive it that are supported by changes of processes, changes of technology, and so forth. But I do want to say that I want to come back to this edge thing one more time. Edge will become more and more important, and it's a really, from a CIO point of view, it's a scary proposition. If you thought it was hard for a CIO to go from your own data center where I owned the key to give it to someone else, imagine how scary it is to not just have the key with someone else, but now there is data, there is processing, there is IP sitting at every machine out there in these little patches. And if someone rips it out, what happens if someone walks off the floor with this little box that sits there and has edge processing on it, that has IP, that has data? It's an interesting new world that we're going to get into, and I don't think people really quite appreciate yet how powerful edge will be, but also what it means for many of the other aspects.
Is the power that you're just describing from a security standpoint that you're saying, or just from the power of the capability from the speeds and feeds and the low latency that you're describing because of what 5G is going to enable?
So I'm going to stay away from 5G. What I believe on
Didn't
edge.
want to get there. See, I was kind of curious if you were going to go there. You want to stay away from that topic.
5G is out there and it'll come, but I want to see
it right now.
Oh, it has nothing to do with me being a fan. I just, it's out there and I want to see it before I'm going to start commenting on it. What I mean by edge, the power of the edge, is that we're going to have so much processing power sit in each one of those devices. We're going to have so much storage capacity. We're going to have so much networking capacity that allows us to do stuff where we just don't have the time to send data up to the cloud, do processing, send it back, maybe involve an on-premise system and then send results back. No. We're going to have immediate now, here results, and that's going to be fascinating. And I think it's going to open this opportunity for doing things we haven't even thought of. Think of real-time video analytics. Think of augmented reality, where I don't have the patience for my eye to wait for 50 milliseconds for something to happen, come down. I want to see a real-time feed, and you can't do this with what we have today. You're going to need edge processing for that, and that's what, in my mind, edge processing will enable. I do think that we're going to need new paradigms, new systems, new processes around security and privacy, because that's a whole new process if every single device has data and logic in it.
What about just in general the next big leap? Is there something we're going to see? You just talked about edge, which is so important. What's going to be? Is there going to be something that's going to be really the next big leap beyond this? Or let's just figure this out right now. Customers really need to figure this whole process out.
Well, customers are figuring it out. It's happening today. I don't really think of this in the future. I think what we will see over time is smart manufacturing and industrial ITs here now, and we have great success with our clients in this area. I see other industry going there quickly too. I think it just depends on the need of the industry and how far along they are. I see this happening in oil and gas. I see this happening in medtech. We're going to see more and more of this. A personal favorite of mine is, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but a personal favorite of mine is, we talk about predictive maintenance of machines all the time. When are we getting back to you and I? When are we getting back to predictive healthcare? Why isn't there a sensor that tells me when I eat too much of this and it's not good for me, and real time, not in this sort of like I have a Fitbit, it deduct something from like my steps, and that seems very primitive today. So I'm really looking forward to predictive healthcare, and I don't know when it's gonna come. It'll come at some point in time.
When you think about things right now, is there one thing that really excites you? We've got to wrap up here. We're just coming down right now. But is there something that you see that really excites you, that you say right now, you talked about that you say, if I had to change or I could really influence, what would that be? Predictive healthcare? Is there something else that you say, I want to be a part of?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of passion, predictive healthcare, and that is really a true sort of like deep passion in me, because I think we're missing something on this. If I think of what goes on today that's there, but people aren't quite seeing, I look at this as mixed reality. We have a booth here where we actually take the smart factory, smart manufacturing concepts and show them to you in a really fun way. So it's actual real deep use cases that we show to you. But what I mean by that is that it reminds me a little bit of IoT 2 years ago. People talked about it, but people didn't really use it. I believe that our whole life around us will be augmented, and we're going to look at it in different ways, and I think there's a huge opportunity. I don't want to look at a manual anymore. I want my IKEA cabinet to be something I can just look up my phone, and it tells me, pick up that screw, put it there in three-dimensional space, and we're going to see this everywhere, and I think this is really around the corner.
Well, I have to tell you, Robert, it's exciting times. So Chief IoT Technologist at Deloitte Digital, where can our listeners go to learn more about what you're doing? First of all, your booth's here, but where can they find your URL?
Well, it's Deloitte.com. And if you want to see more about our shows, I have a weekly show called Coffee Chat with Mr. IoT. I'm actually just came from recording one. And it's a YouTube channel out there. Just find us, look for Mr. IoT, Coffee Chat, Coffee with Mr. IoT. There's lots and lots of those little tidbits. I love to chat with you. And if you're interested, just send me a message on there, and I'll be happy to engage. Thank you so much.
All right, well, there you have it. All right, well, there you have it. Stick around. We've got more to come. Next is going to be Microsoft. So this is the Peggy Smedley Show, podcasting voice of IoT and digital transformation. Remember, with great technology comes great responsibility. We'll be right back after these quick commercial breaks, coming to you live here from Liveworx.